Well, hello everyone. On this 39-degree day here in Oklahoma City, we have finally gotten above freezing. We had lots of ice and icicles and just really treacherous conditions yesterday. But it has all melted now, and you can see just how wet the landscape is. And actually, even though it kind of looks like a holy mess, and I would agree with you if that was your observation, I also know that all of this moisture is going to be really, really good for the garden. And in short order, starting, I believe, at the end of next week, we're going to get up in the 60s. And all of this stuff will start warming up. And I fully anticipate that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm going to start seeing those significant tips of the tulips starting to emerge from the soil. There are already lots of little seedlings of larkspur and things that I've shown you before, and those will continue to emerge as the conditions warm. In fact, pretty quickly. Now, on a happy note, look at how pretty the social patio looks. I love the way it just the terracotta brick looks with the gray stones. I'll probably have to amend the gravel a little bit in between in the junctures, but that's okay. And I'm even liking the way that terracotta pot is looking over there, albeit faux terracotta. But this is why even hardscape, if it's attractive enough, can have seasonal interest. So I am just now starting to take off the cover on all of these topiaries. And honestly, people, I don't know if it helped or it didn't help, or if it was just, if it was unnecessary. Most of the boxwood, I mean, it's gotten kind of nipped, and brown, which it will do, and bronze, but overall it's fine. I need to I should have brought in that pillow and that blanket, and I did not, but I'll do that today, or I'll just leave them out here to dry out and bring them in later. But you can see that I've got to come back and I've got to clean up all of this mess. Now, you may think, oh my gosh, Linda, this just looks so horrible. How can you stand it? Well, actually, because I know this is the advantage of being an experienced gardener. I know that it may look like holy hell now, but I know all of the rumblings that are going on underneath that damp soil, and how quickly, once it starts to warm up and I start to clean it up, how I can make it look presentable again, partly by starting to do some container plantings that will have seasonal color, seasonal edibles or edimentals. I will come in here and I will deadhead. See those pansies? They are just fine. I'll come in and I'll deadhead them. I will come out with my pruners and I will clip the frost damaged foliage at the peaks of all of these different plants. Start cleaning up, not prematurely, but start cleaning up the leaf litter. And before I know it, it's going to look just fine. And really, when you stand at the street and you're looking back this way, all of this is kind of hidden from view. All you're seeing is really the structure of the beautiful sidewalk and the evergreens. And here's what I mean. Now, nobody has been out walking, driving, getting out much at all since it has been so cold. But in one afternoon, I can get these leaves cleaned up. I can remove all of the covering. And it will actually start looking not too bad, particularly when, as I said, the seasonal color starts taking a more prominent role, because all of these violas and pansies will start looking nice. And then before I know it, it'll not prematurely, but it will be time for me to start pruning the boxwood, and I will prune off all of the damaged foliage and really reestablishing that spherical form of the boxwood globes. This is another example of why it's so important that you, in your design, you think about elements like this brilliant entry up to the porch. Remember when that porch was painted bright red? And remember when there was just a cracked and sad sidewalk here? that was not freshly poured and had no brick border. The brick border really makes it, in my estimation. I have come out here before I started filming, and I've started doing my scratch test on things to see if there was green, is it cambium layer below that was still viable, and I think so. Now, typically, does it always look this bad, this sad in the winter? No, it does not. But we've all had a very extreme winter. Every year it seems to get more extreme. And this is why it's so important to plant really tough plants. So imagine, if you will, when the sunshine ligustrum is pruned back hard and it flushes out all in that wonderful chartreuse color. And I actually kind of love the way the frost and the dew hangs in the evergreens, particularly the conifers. The other important thing that I'm noticing here is what keeps your yard, when you've got a lot of plants like this, and it can look overgrown and messy, is that you have really strong bed lines. So you can see how tailored and well-defined the bed lines are, and the tree wells around the trees. And all of this moisture is really, everything that I planted is just loving this moisture. So before long, this stuff will be happy. There's rosettes of greenery that has either not died or is slowly starting to appear around the perennials. And I'm just so anxious because, last year at this time there was nothing. And by the way, I'm going to put up, I think it was my first Wednesday walkabout here, before there was anything in place. And you guys might want to watch it as a reference. So here's another example. See, this corner is just fine. And those little violas, just give them some fertilizer and they are going to explode, as will all of this chartreuse golden feverfew. And then right now, because we mulched all of these things in leaves, there's a lot more leaf litter that once it goes away and things are cleaned up, it'll look fine. And I think the buds on that star magnolia, I think they made it. Time will tell. But by then there'll be so many things I'm looking at that it will just be an embarrassment of abundance, because there will just be so much stuff. Okay, here's this pot that was just a few minutes ago, was placed over this little Goldie holly. And I do like it. I think I showed you before that I just bought this, but I love the texture on the sides, and I am going to put a rub on this, but I love the fact that it's very lightweight, but it's also got a good thick wall. So I think for really cold temperatures, it will be marvelous. And then who knew that this aspect, this path that goes down the east side, I've showed it to you before in good weather and in bad. I really think this is going to be one of my favorite parts of the garden, because there is nothing quite like a charming garden path to kind of tease you to the beyond. And then there's big old buds on that Chinese snowball viburnum. So imagine, if you will, what this will look like when all of these encore azaleas and these hydrangeas are in bloom, because they may be brown, but they are not down and out. Now this sweet little bench here, Kelly's guys made me a little throw rug to place it upon. This is where I like to sit, sometimes in the morning with a cup of coffee, or in the afternoon with a cup of tea or iced tea, and watch the kiddos come home from school. Because this is the straight shot, straight that way, straight north to Wilson School. And boy, these Oakland hollies are doing very well despite the cold. That's one of the reasons I love hollies so much. And I think they really look beautiful with that bald cypress mulch. I love that color. Well, these plant stands just filled with geranium and fern and lettuces and just all sorts of yummy things. Pots of blooming iris reticulata, the little tiny iris, hyacinths. And I am thinking about, here's a question of the day for you guys. I am thinking about painting this black furniture. I'm thinking about painting it in the gray. So let me know your thoughts on that. I haven't decided. Haven't decided yet. It's been so cold, we have not been able to sit out here around the fire, but I am hoping we're going to try to have a cocktail party here on Valentine's Day. And I'm hoping that maybe it'll be warm enough that I can get this entire area presentable and we can sit outside. Still waiting on my railings, but I think they're going to be here soon. I need to take the plastic off of those topiaries. And by the way, there's no greenhouse effect there because this stayed in shade the entire time. So all of this looks really, really barren and bleak. Now next year, I anticipate that there will be pots and railings running up and down these magnificent steps, and that will make this whole area look more populated and a lot more interesting. I'll also have tabletop topiaries and things of that nature, and then the area in between the stepping stones and the steps, that will be softened with more ground cover. It is a new garden after all. And then this whole area over here will be transformed into a really charming potting area, I believe. Boy, my hands are getting very, very cold. I'll be so relieved to see new growth coming out of this oak leaf hydrangea. I'm confident. And yes, a lot of you, I did have the valve open on my water barrel, but nevertheless, I don't know if it's the wind or whatever, it is awry, and we'll fix that too. All in due time, all in due time. Right now, I'm just trying to be patient. My gosh, I love that Dragon Prince Cryptomeria. The stuff back here isn't nearly as weather battered because it's all protected. So before you know it, it may be barren now, but I have the optimism and the hope of a gardener in winter, and I have enough gardening experience to know that the tide will turn and it will not look so bleak. And also, there is an upside to these very, very cold temperatures, and that is that hopefully lots of nefarious pests will be frozen out. The cedar trees look pretty, I think. And in the video that we're going to put up, I believe on Thursday, you'll show that it was before these trees were pruned. There was still a hackberry over in that corner that we took down. It was before the brick rug was in place. So, as always, try to remember what you have accomplished and not just what you have remaining to do. Hope you guys are safe and warm on this Wednesday.